Welcome back, boxing fans, to another great show with Sean on Boxing. So we just had the Hall of Fame nominations go through, and we have three fantastic fighters that had fantastic careers. Of course, Manny Pacquiao. No surprise there that Manny Pacquiao, the 8th Division World Champion, is obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer. Congratulations to Manny. Manny is one of my favorite fighters of all time. And so, of course, I'm happy to see him get into the Hall of Fame. But, of course, I'm not shocked or surprised. He is a great fighter and has accomplished a hell of a lot. So there's no reason why he would not have been a Hall of Famer. Then, of course, we have Michael Nunn. Michael Nunn, who growing up was one of my favorite fighters. He was the middleweight Muhammad Ali. A long guy with a great jab who was able to move around the ring, peppering dudes with that jab with serious power attached to it. And then obviously a backhand that was a little more dangerous than maybe he was given credit for. He had some fantastic wins, but obviously some demons in his life sort of ended his career prematurely and sent him to jail. So I'm kind of surprised that he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Maybe it's not the first ballot, I'm not sure specifically, but I'm kind of surprised that he is getting into the Hall of Fame, but I can't say I'm sad about it. He was one of my favorite fighters, just like Donald Curry. So I'm always happy to see guys I like get some recognition and get into the Hall of Fame. They deserve it. These are true warriors that entertained as well as, put their life on the line. So congratulations to them. Obviously, I'm more happy that he's out of prison and, able to lead a normal life. That's obviously more significant than being in the Hall of Fame. Then, of course, we have Vinny Pazienza, the Paz. I was never really a Pazienza fan. Paz wasn't quite the kind of fighter that I liked. He was the guy that got hit more than he hit. Obviously, you got to give him praise for being tough, and obviously had a great fan base that supported him. But, in and around his weight division, there was a lot of fighters that I enjoyed a lot more than him. Even Hector Macho Camacho, I enjoyed and was a big fan of his far more than I ever was of Vinny Pazienza. But you got to give Vinny a lot of credit for the tough guy that he was, the background that he came from, what he was able to accomplish, and then go on to break his neck in a car accident and not allow that to even ruin his career, but actually continue to fight and put on some good performances against really elite fighters in his career. Obviously, he became much more of an opponent than a champion at that point of his career, but nonetheless, he had that name recognition. Obviously, he was a tough guy that wasn't going to flip for nothing. He's a guy that came to win, whether he was able to or not. You're going to get the best from him. So congratulations for him. I'm sure this is kind of the cherry on top of a career that probably ended up being far better and far bigger than he ever could have imagined. Congratulations to all three guys. Obviously all three are guys that I watched growing up, specifically obviously Michael Nunn and Vinny Pazienza when I was much younger. Obviously Manny Pacquiao is a little more recent. And so, when I was watching him, I was much older and much more of an experienced boxing fan and loved his explosiveness and entertainment. Not that necessarily he couldn't be beat, but I don't watch boxing specifically to find guys that can't be beat. I watch boxing to be entertained. And if I find fighters that are entertaining, show a lot of heart, make fights, and go in there and entertain the fans while trying to do their best to win, for me that means far more than some unbeaten record, right? That doesn't necessarily intrigue me. It may intrigue others, and that's fine. Everybody has their own objectives and their own goals as a sports fan, but as a sports fan, generally the teams you support, the individuals you support, tend to lose more than they win, even if they're Hall of Famers and elite winners. But they're still going to take losses, right? That's just the way life is. And what we learned in life, it's not about winning. It's how you bounce back from losses, how you bounce back from, unfortunate circumstances. Obviously, in this situation, he had Pazienza, who, very well could have lost his life or easily lost his career, breaking his neck, wearing the halo, able to come back and continue the career that he loved. Michael Nunn, who was a pound for pound fighter, one of the best fighters during his era, obviously losing to Tony, and then getting arrested for cocaine and spending quite a few years in jail. And obviously, him being able to bounce back, get out of jail and move on with his life is obviously fantastic. Even Manny Pacquiao, a guy that was able to scrape himself from the gutters of, the Philippines and become one of the biggest iconic boxers ever. And for sure the biggest one from Asia ever. A guy that was a global icon, a global superstar, right? And that's just the fact. The amount of famous people he met, and just his, carefree, fun attitude really made people endear to him. Doing the talk show circuit, singing in front of, huge crowds, even though he is far from a good singer. But we know the Filipinos love to sing, and Manny was no different. As well as his penchant to play basketball as well, because we know the Filipinos, they love a good game of ball. And Manny obviously represents his people and did well. Even after losses, was able to come back. Took losses early on in his career, but continued to roll and became even bigger even after those losses, learning from them, being just as determined, if not more so, and obviously becoming a global icon. So congratulations to all three of these men who were all able to overcome a lot in their life. And really that is the true accomplishment of these gentlemen. So congratulations to them. And I look forward to more and more memories.